Hey audio lovers, Graham here from therecordingrevolution.com, and got a helpful little video for you today if you're mixing guitars, especially stereo guitars. I get tracks from clients and they come in various different formats, various different states of repair. Some are in great shape, some are in okay shape, and a lot of times I don't really know how they recorded certain things. And so sometimes what I'll get is a bunch of stereo tracks. And usually if I get stereo guitar tracks, I start to wonder, because when I record guitar, I record them as mono tracks because it's a mono source. Your guitar amp is generally a mono signal. It's one thing coming out of one speaker, or the same signal coming out of four speakers if you have a big cab. And it doesn't warrant two tracks or stereo track. But a lot of times people are recording direct with virtual amps and software and all kinds of stuff. And because there's stereo-based effects like delays and phasers and stuff, those boxes or plugins can spit out maybe a stereo track. And maybe that's what I'm getting a lot of times, is stereo prints from these plugins. And so maybe that's something you've worked on. So you record this part, it sounds cool in stereo, and so you have a stereo guitar track. Okay, there's nothing wrong inherently with stereo guitar tracks. The problem is you can run into major phase issues. And what this means is if you're remixing a song with a bunch of stereo guitar tracks, you might have a really hard time getting the EQ to work right, getting things to have clarity, and you can hear things, but they sound kind of washed out. Sometimes they sound really thin, okay? Sometimes you can definitely hear phase problems, but sometimes, like in this case, I mixed an EP, it was very sneaky. I would mix a little bit, do some EQ, balance things out, and realize that, man, when all these guitars are in, there's a couple of tracks that they just disappear, or they don't, something just sounds off. And come to find, after do a little digging, because I've screwed up guitars so often, I now go to look for it. I want to check the phase, and that will change everything. So let me show you an example of this, because this is just, it's so drastic, and very few things in mixing are drastic, but this is one of them. So here's one guitar track that was given to me as it is. Okay. Aside from a little reverb that's in the background, the delay is all on the track. This is the way it came, which I'm fine with all of that. I want you to print your effects. But this is a stereo track, panned hard left, panned hard right. So in theory, it would be nice and balanced in the left and the right, or up the middle. But I get it kind of, I can hear it kind of in the off to the right a little bit. Like it's 50% to the right, and then there's a delay obviously kind of all around. And it doesn't sound like there's no tone, but something just sounds weird to me about it, and it didn't fit right in the mix. And so what I wanted to do was do a little research. If you zoom in here on the waveform, let's do that. Right, you've got the left and the right track. Take a look, if I go into slip mode here, take a look at, say, here, on the left track, when the waveform dips down, it's coming up on the right track. Okay. The same thing is true here. When the waveform goes up on the left channel, it dips down completely on the right channel. And if you've done any phase research, or you've done any phase investigation, then you know this is a problem. You've got audio waves that are canceling each other out. It's not perfectly, because there's delay in here, so this isn't a perfect representation of completely out of phase. Otherwise, the sound would disappear. But that's a major problem. So a very simple fix, very easy fix, but you're going to hear what a difference this phase makes, right? So what I would do, since it's a stereo track, is I got to split it into two mono tracks. So you can right click in Pro Tools if you're a Pro Tools user, and a menu comes up on the track name, split into mono, which is helpful. You get basically then that stereo track, and underneath it you get it split into mono. And all I need to do is affect one of the channels. That's why I'm splitting it into two mono tracks for a second. Okay, so then I basically want to take this bottom track, which is now purple, and invert it. And you can do that with a plugin, or I'm going to print that. So I'm going to select this and choose Audio Suite and invert. But any plugin in your DAW that can flip the polarity, you can do that. And I'm just going to click render. So what it's doing is flipping the phase. So what was upside down is now right side up. And if you look at now the green and the purple tracks together, which is now their 2 mono tracks. But you can see now when the green is going up, so is the purple. Okay, yeah, they're in phase now. When the green is going down, so is the purple. So let's hear what that does, because who cares what it looks like? What I want to do is be able to flip back and forth. I'm going to duplicate this track, call it Electronic 2 Plus, or Electric 2 Plus. And then what I'm going to do is take these 2 tracks, the inverted right channel and the unaffected left channel, copy them back over into that stereo track, and delete those mono tracks. We don't need the mono tracks anymore. But what I've done basically is I've got 2 versions of this stereo track. Okay, got the one that's the original, and then now the one where I flip the phase of the right channel. Night and day, right? Did you hear that? Original. Fixed. Now it sounds like a guitar up the middle with a delay in the left and right doing its cool thing. It sounds fuller. It sounds natural. It's just, phase is a beast. And if you ever are mixing guitars, you know, in this case, I'm talking about guitars, but we've talked about snare drums, we've talked about drum overheads, we've talked about keyboards, anything where there's 2 channels of the same source and something just sounds off, it's worth zooming in, looking at the waveform and seeing if they are out of phase, even slightly. In this case, they were almost 180 degrees out of phase, and it was drastic. So again, a before and after example here. Way more clarity, way better tone, and now that will be much easier to mix. And if I need to EQ it, I can EQ it, but now I'm not EQing an out of phase, confused track and wondering why my mix isn't working. So boring stuff, phase, but if you want drastic results in your mix and things are out of phase, this is the best bang for your buck, is get things back in phase, and then you'll have less work to do when it comes to EQ. Hope that helps, everyone. Graham here from therecordingrevolution.com. Hey, subscribe to the channel if you like the video. That lets me know that these videos are helping you, making a difference. And then wander on over to therecordingrevolution.com or click the link here in the video or below the video so you can get access to a bunch of free tools I'm giving away if you join the mailing list there. I got a lot of exclusive content that I only send out to all the people on the mailing list because you guys are the best. Thanks for watching. Go make some great music this week. Have fun. We'll talk to you soon.